Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Logistics Executive TV. This is our Logistics Uncovered series, and I'm joined here as usual by my colleague, James Hamilton. James, thanks for joining us.
Cam, great to be back. Thoroughly enjoyed last time.
Excellent. And I think we had a couple of questions and comments come back, which was very useful. So good to see the community engaging with us, and we look forward to keeping that going.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is what it's all about. It's an open forum, and
Yeah.
we want to hear from people. So if you have some ideas or different things that you want us to talk further about,
Yeah.
please drop us a line.
So James, we're going into the event season really for a lot of the world. There's events taking place all over the place.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's as you said, it's event season. This is generally the time where every air freight, sea freight person has their suitcases permanently packed and spare pair of shirts and ready for networking.
Yeah, I think the break bulk event here at the Dubai Convention Centre is World Trade Centre is something like 500 exhibitors or something in that order, and the ones in Europe are even bigger, I think.
Oh no, there's some big ones going on. I think one that's happened at the moment, I think you're going to talk about is Fruit Logistica, which I've been on a few times up in Berlin. It is a huge event. I mean, it takes you about 45 minutes to walk from one side of the event to the other, and everybody with any part of fruit, different parts, is
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I think you were at Berlin last year. I was in the one in Madrid. Don't know how I ended up in Madrid. Happened to be in Barcelona at an event, and it was just mind-boggling. This was like an entire city.
Exactly.
Lots to talk about. A bit of a blip at the moment, leading into Chinese New Year
Yeah.
regarding rates, especially with what's going on in the Red Sea again.
Yeah, I mean, just as a quick update, air freight rates are not changing too much as in across the board. There's some blips, as you say. Bangladesh, for example, has doubled in the last month due to the garment industry increase. How that will go, we'll see how that goes in the future. Obviously, coming into Chinese New Year, there was another blip that's going on. It's a seasonal one. But apart from that, nothing really been hitting the airwaves that have
Okay.
driven the world crazy.
Yeah, still a few aircraft on the ground.
Yep.
Over capacity in general terms, irrespective of what's going on ocean. Supply chain events, Asia is going to be really strong this year. One of the biggest global organisations, CMAT, which is out of Germany, I think, teaming up with the folks over at Logisim in Singapore. That's going on in a couple of months' time. But Logisim have got actually, I think, 5 events taking place, which we're going to be involved in through Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines, I think. So Logisim got their own magazine as well, going great guns. So big event year for them this year. Don't know whether you're getting to Asia this year, James, as part of your role.
I'd hope to at some stage, but at the moment the weather's just so good here at the moment. Kim, why would you want to leave here?
Nice and chilly, nice and chilly.
Yeah.
Okay, so James, just a couple of things going on around the world at the moment. We spoke the other week about the dispute that was taking place with the Maritime Workers Union in Australia the last couple of months with DP World. I'm very pleased to say that DP World have reached an agreement with the Maritime Workers Union, and they've resolved that dispute, and there's been a huge backlog of containers in Australia over the last couple of months.
Yeah, no, that news is great, and there'll be a lot of relieved people around the world because there was a lot of empty containers sitting there in those ports, and I think, as you may have also mentioned, that because no one had really had any idea if it was going to be resolved, there was a lot of containers being made up. But with this release, this is great news because there's a lot of empty containers sitting there.
Yeah, I think there was 55,000 containers last time I heard. We were talking to the folks at the Freight Trade Alliance, the FTA, and I think we may get Paul's ally on next time we're speaking to give us a bit of a heads up about what's going on in Australia. But that backlog has been cleared very, very quickly.
No, it'd be interesting to hear that really behind the scenes on that one.
Yeah. obviously we still have disruption in the Red Sea. We still have, I think, ocean rates are being under pressure there as a
Yep.
result, but hopefully not too long term.
Well, I mean, as we've said, people are looking at alternatives. There's a number of alternatives in the media, whether or not they make sense, whether or not they don't make sense. Everybody seems to have an idea at the moment on what can be resolved from there. I mean, if Red Sea could get up and running again, it could turn around quickly. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's going to be a massive change, in the short term. At the moment, they continue to move around the Africa coast, and it adds 10, 15 days to it. So.
Yeah.
That's what seems to be happening at the
Sure.
moment.
Now, you and I were talking off camera regarding a couple of articles about digitisation and how perhaps digitisation has slowed down a little bit, and not being as effective in
Yeah.
some areas, or the uptake not being as high profile as what we'd anticipated. But still a lot of investment going on
Yeah.
in terms of digitisation and supply chain. Yeah.
Yeah, I think e-commerce is the buzzword that everybody has used for a long time, and I remember in my days people always used to say, "Let's get into e-commerce." Well, it's not quite as easy as that. Supply chain has a massive effect on that, and we're seeing in the high street markets different shops. Like I did a little bit of research on a company called Superdry, which really had some logistics issues last year, and that was they pushed hard on their e-commerce. But at the end of the day, if the product can't get to the consumer quickly, there's an issue, no matter how good that is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of organisations that have really gone hard on investment in e-commerce. A lot of organisations yet still to realise their potential through that. But I guess that leads into also another article we were seeing about the folks at WiseTech, Richard White, of course, one of the top digitisation companies in the world, WiseTech, and is it Wise Cargo or
CargoWise.
CargoWise?
CargoWise.
A bit of a darling of the Australian
Yeah.
Stock Exchange, the ASX. From memory, about 5 years ago, the stock was at about $20. Now is up around $80. Has been, I think, if I'm not wrong, the strongest performer on the Australian Stock Exchange over the last 5 years.
Yeah, should have put $1 on that with my Bitcoin and my Apple
With
shares.
Microsoft, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, they're great. Talking to the freight forwarders, CargoWise always in discussions of being the product of choice.
Yeah, so I think probably 8 or 9 out of the top 10 or 12 terminal companies, logistics companies, all the freight companies, as you say, tend to use it. And for those of you not aware, go to WiseTech. Always good to promote an Aussie company. They integrate and provide connectivity right across the entire supply chain of moving anything from anywhere to anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they've got great competitors, but WiseTech is certainly one of the top ones. So thanks, James. So just a quick one on M&A. Currently, sort of the big one around the traps at the moment is, of course, Deutsche Bahn looking to sell their very valuable subsidiary, DB Schenker. And it's been talked about a lot over the last year or two or so. Of course, got a couple of big players. Not many companies with big enough pockets to be in that market, but
Yeah.
we've got a couple out there at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously front page on every logistics discussion at the moment, and has been for a while. I mean, it's going to be a real game changer when it comes to the top five or the big five freight forwarders when they do.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got the Danish, who seem to be looking at it either through DSV or Maersk Line seem to be the front runners. Look, it's interesting. There's also other players that are potentially looking at it. There was even talk of a UAE ports company may have been looking at it at some stage. Let's see who it happens. But I mean, follow this one as much as you want, and hopefully we'll get an answer very soon.
Okay. Well, thanks, James. Good to talk again, and thanks for coming in. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Logistics Uncovered as part of our series this season. And by all means, if you've got any comments or questions that you want to hit us up with, then you can easily get hold of us here by comments downstairs here on LinkedIn. Throw anything at us, and we're happy to do a bit of research in the next week or so, we will keep you updated with what the news and views are around the world. And James, look forward to catching up with you again soon.
I'll get my detective hat back on again, Kim, and let's get some more news and events for next week.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody.